Welcome to the recorded session of the World of Fiery webinar, Best Practices for Preparing Files for Digital Print. Have you ever had this happen? A customer gives you an InDesign document to print. When you submit the document, the printed output is not acceptable. Some common problems that we encounter include missing fonts, transparency issues that may not be obvious when you are looking only at the printed output, graphics that are printed with missing links resulting in poor quality, spot colors that are used that are not in the Fiery Server spot color library. Again, this may be difficult to detect without looking at a comparison sample, and images that look good on the screen, but when printed, the output is pixelated. In today's session, we will review how to identify these issues before printing the document. We will see today how identifying and eliminating common printing problems is easy to do with the tools we are reviewing. This will improve your job estimation for both production time and cost. By identifying and eliminating common printing problems before printing the job, this will save you and your customer time and money incurred fixing the problems and lowering reprinting costs. By reducing the need to reprint and fix problem files, your ability to meet deadlines, offer lower costs, and increase overall customer satisfaction to increase repeat business will improve. Today's agenda will include identifying issues before printing the document using Fiery tools, preventing common issues encountered when creating documents using Adobe Creative Suite and Creative Cloud, and overcoming difficult files using tools available on the Fiery server, and finally answering questions from the audience. To identify issues before printing, Fiery Preflight is a tool that is included with Fiery servers that have the Fiery Graphic Arts Package Premium Edition. Fiery Preflight will check for font errors, including missing fonts or if the font courier is present. In this example, missing fonts will generate a critical error and the presence of courier will generate a warning alert. It can also verify that all the spot colors used in a document are present in the Fiery's spot color library. Here we see that this will generate a critical error. Fiery Preflight can check the resolution of all the images used within a document. In this example, images with a resolution of less than 150 dpi will generate an alert message. If the document is a variable data printing job, Fiery Preflight checks a sample of the records to verify that the resources required are accessible to the Fiery server. The resources can be stored locally or accessed from external links. In this example, the first 10 records will be checked and a critical error will be generated if any resource is missing. Fiery Preflight can also check for the presence of hairlines in a document. In this example, a warning will be generated if it detects a line thickness of less than a quarter point. Finally, Fiery Preflight will check for the presence of overprints in the document. In this example, this will generate a warning message to alert us to enable the Fiery Job Property option, Composite Overprint. Next, let's take a look at a demo of Fiery Preflight. To preflight a job, first select it in the held queue, right-click the job, and select Preflight from the pop-out menu. When the Preflight settings window appears, you can choose the options that you wish to preflight and what their warning level will be, critical or warning. For this example, I'm going to disable VDP resources, and I'm going to set the spot colors to, again, a critical message, but also the image resolution then of less than 150 dpi to a critical message as well. I can now save these. We'll call this the World of Fiery Training and select Save. In the future now, we can pull down the Presets menu to quickly select the World of Fiery Training preflight settings. We can also use these with our virtual printers and hot folders when we are setting up preflight within those automated workflows. When we're ready to preflight the job, simply select the preflight. It will take a moment for the job to preflight and then generate the report. When the report is complete, we can see that in this particular case, this file has 4 errors. Let's expand them. We can see that some fonts are missing, that Century Gothic is missing, as well as Miranda Pro Regular. We can also see that there's a spot color issue where the fiery dot red missing is not detected. We can also see that an image was found with less than 150 dpi, and that the overprint did generate a warning message. There are 18 occurrences that use the overprint. If we need to send this to our customer so that they can evaluate the file and make any adjustments, we can save this as a PDF file. And this can now be emailed to our customers. The report will look exactly the same as what we're seeing here on our screen. Here we see the PDF file of the Preflight report. When we define or create a virtual printer, we can turn on the Preflight option. Jobs submitted through the virtual printer or through the hot folders can then be preflighted before they are sent. In this case, we are using the World of Fiery training preset that we created earlier, or we can use one of the other presets or make our own new setting of Preflight settings. We'll again use the World of Fiery training preset that we created earlier, and we'll define it so that on a critical error, the job will hold. Jobs submitted then through this particular virtual printer will automatically be preflighted. When a critical error is detected, it will hold the job, preventing it from printing with the errors. All right, let's return to our presentation. Another common problem is with image files in printed documents. Image files are often low resolution or have bad color adjustments. To prevent low quality image issues when printing, use caution when using web images. What looks good on the web may not have the same quality when printed. Buy high resolution versions of the stock libraries. Images should be at least 300 pixels per inch. Do not scale up images. Scaling down will have the same effect though as increasing the resolution. And avoid downsampling images below 300 pixels per inch when creating PDF files. While this will create a smaller file size for sending using email or using on the web, it will not produce the best printed results. And remember that screenshots have a low resolution, and increasing the size will produce lower quality printed output. This table here shows common digital camera resolution sizes and the optimal print size. If the image will be cropped or scaled, this will effectively reduce the resolution of the final image when printed. Another common problem when printing images results from bad color adjustments. To ensure that color-adjusted images will produce the best printed result, make sure to embed the RGB profile when saving the document from your image editing application. The Fiery server will use this profile when printing to produce the best results. When making color adjustments, use a high-quality monitor, such as the Azizo ColorEdge CG264 or the Lucile 324i. These monitors will include a viewing hood and monitor calibration tools. Calibrate the monitor using the monitor calibration tools included with the monitor or Fiery Color Profiler Suite and the included ES2000. Calibration should be performed at least weekly in color-critical environments. In some environments, the monitor may be calibrated more often to ensure the highest level of accuracy when making color adjustments. In this next section, we will review how to configure and use Adobe Creative Suite and the Creative Cloud to avoid common problems. These will include configuring the color settings within one of the Creative Suite applications and using Adobe Bridge to synchronize the settings with the other Adobe Creative Suite applications. It will also include identifying broken linked objects and relinking them to the source files, using transparencies within the Creative Suite documents and avoiding printing issues, adding and sharing spot color libraries between applications in Adobe Creative Suite, using InDesign's Preflight option to identify issues before creating a PDF file, and using the packaging feature within Adobe InDesign and Adobe Illustrator to collect all the resources used in a document into a single folder. Adobe Creative Suite applications can share the same color settings. Define the settings in one application and use Adobe Bridge to synchronize the settings across all the Creative Suite applications. The Adobe Creative Suite applications allow you the ability to assign a color profile to the current document. It also allows you to convert the current document color profile to a different color profile. Assigning a color profile within Adobe Creative Suite is best when a color profile has not already been assigned to the document. Adobe Photoshop can only assign one color space to a document. Adobe Illustrator and InDesign both support CMYK and RGB objects within the same document. Generally, the assigned profile should be the working space or the editing color space. Adobe Creative Suite applications also allow the profile used within a document to be converted to a different profile. This will apply conversion options for the rendering intent and black point compensation and are not configurable when assigning profiles. In the past, this was often done to images within Photoshop to convert RGB images to CMYK before they were sent to the image setter. This step is not required when printing to Fiery-driven printers and should be avoided to get the best color results. Adobe Bridge allows the color settings used in one of the Creative Suite applications to be used with the other Creative Suite applications. This allows for consistent color management with all the Creative Suite applications. I'll now do a brief demonstration showing how to use Adobe Creative Suite to eliminate the problems that we've highlighted.
Let's begin with the Adobe Creative Cloud application in Design. We'll define the color settings first. We'll select the Edit menu and select Color Settings. Here we can see this document has the settings North America General Purpose 2 already assigned to it. What we want to do is we want to change the working color space. The sRGB color profile for RGB is fine, but we need to change the CMYK color space to something that has a little bit larger gamut. So for this example, we're going to select Coded Grackle, and we're going to turn the color management policies to preserve the embedded profiles. And we'll also then change the CMYK to preserve the embedded profiles as well. If any conversion options are required, we'll use the Adobe ACE engine and the relative colorimetric rendering intent. If we want to save these for use in the future, we can select Save. And here I have an example already that I've saved, and I'll just overwrite it. And now I can use these color settings in the future very quickly and efficiently. We'll apply these settings by clicking OK. In Adobe Illustrator, we can see that the color settings are currently using the North American General Purpose 2 as well. So what I'll do, instead of setting them here, I'll switch to Adobe Bridge and select the color settings. I'll select the World of Fiery and apply these. When I change back to Adobe Illustrator, it's now using those settings that were applied from Adobe Bridge. Again, Adobe Bridge provides a quick and efficient way to synchronize all the color settings through our applications in Creative Suite and the Creative Cloud. Next, I'm going to open up a document that has been submitted to me, and I'm going to find that it has a missing link. We can update the link. In this example, I'm going to not update the link so we can show how to detect it. We'll see that in the links area that we have a warning alert message. We also see down here in the Preflight area that there's an issue. We can select Preflight, we can see our links, and we can see in fact that our file is missing here. I'll right-click the file in the links area, select Relink, and point it to its final location, and relink the file. Now my document shows no errors down in the Preflight area and no warning messages in the links list. It's very important that when you print documents either directly to the Fiery-driven printer or create a PDF of that document, that all the links are synchronized so that the maximum resolution is submitted when creating the PDF or submitting it to the Fiery-driven printer. Broken links are a common cause for low-resolution images in documents. Next, let's look at some transparency issues. Here we can see we have a knockout. If we switch over to our other document, we can see that this particular image has an actual transparency. By right-clicking on it, I can select my effects and select the transparency menu option. And we can see we have an opacity of 85%. You want to make sure that we do not turn on the knockout group checkbox and set the mode to normal. Also, when working with transparencies, it's important to note that transparencies can be handled in either the RGB or CMYK color space. Under the Edit menu, we have a transparency blend space, and we can select either RGB or CMYK. In this example, document CMYK has already been selected. InDesign only allows you to work in one transparency blend space at a time. You can bring in documents or images from other applications such as Adobe Illustrator that use the other color space and place those within the InDesign document and have both RGB and CMYK blended transparency spaces in the same document. Any object defined specifically in InDesign will only use either the CMYK or the RGB color space, in this example CMYK. Also, if you are having difficulty printing the file, you can also flatten the transparency. This will enable then the transparency to be defined in the original document so that when it is sent to a printer, it does not have to convert the transparency on the other end. Using the Fiery Advanced Tools, this option is not necessary. Next, let's see how we can add spot colors from one application into another. Here we have a document. We want to add in some spot colors from another InDesign document that we've already created. So we'll select the Swatches menu. We can see our list of Pantone colors here, as well as CMYK and RGB colors is quite extensive. But we want to add an additional color. So I'll do a new color swatch. And I'll change it then from Process to Spot. And let's select our color mode. And I'll go down here to the bottom and select Other Library that I've already saved from a different application. I'll locate my spot color. In this example, Training Swatches. I'll select Open. And now I have 3 spot colors that I can select from: Training Cyan, Training Magenta, and Training Yellow that I've already defined. These were defined previously in an InDesign document, and I'm simply transferring those to a new document. I'll select the Training Cyan, and it's now been added to my library. I can also use that spot color library within Adobe Illustrator. I'll select the Swatch menu and select Open Swatch Library, and again select Other Library. Point it to my spot color library. And now I have my 3 spot colors. Here I'm placing a square and applying the spot color, Training Cyan, to that object. Next, let's look at the InDesign Preflight utility. Again, we saw earlier this option down here in the lower right-hand corner. We'll select the Preflight menu and select the Preflight panel. And we can see that Preflight has detected several problems. The first being a broken link, the second, a missing font. Here we can see that the Hurry Up Regular is missing. To prevent this missing font in the future, what we should have done when we created this document and transferred it over to the other system is, instead of sending just the document, we should have created a package. Let's take a look at how we would do that to prevent broken links as well as missing fonts. Here we have the document with the fonts and all the place graphics linked. To create a package that contains the fonts and the linked images, simply go up to the File menu and select Package. We can define what is going to be packaged, and this is going to capture all of our fonts. Again, it can capture all the fonts that are embedded in the system except Macintosh system fonts. We can verify that the linked files will be captured. It will also capture any ICC profile information that is included as well. When we're ready to package the file, simply select Package. It gives us the opportunity to include any additional instructions. And then finally create the folder with the package. A warning message regarding the copying of font software will appear. Make sure that you comply with all licensing restrictions when using and creating packages. The package will then be created. Here we see the folder that was just created called Hurry Sample Folder. And we see then the InDesign document, and then the document fonts folder containing all of the fonts, the instructions that we created previously, and all the links that are used within this document. This folder can now be shared with others, and it will include all the necessary resources and fonts so that they can correctly open the file and print it. Let's switch back now to our presentation.
Once the document is finalized, a PDF file can be created to submit to the Fiery-driven printer. To create the PDF file, you should use one of the high-quality PDF presets or import the PDF preset Fiery Optimized 2 when the document will be printed on a Fiery-driven printer. I will now do a brief demonstration to show how to use InDesign's Adobe PDF preset menu and use and load the Fiery Optimize 2 preset.
When your document is finalized, we can now create a PDF file from it. Within InDesign, go to the File menu and select Adobe PDF Presets. When creating a PDF file, you should use one of the high-quality PDF presets, such as High Quality Print. Avoid using the smallest file size. This will produce a file that is adequate for web display, but not adequate for printing. We can also add the Fiery Optimize 2 PDF preset by selecting Define, and then loading it. We'll locate the Fiery Optimize 2 job options. This will be provided to you in a follow-up email so that you can use it and share it with your customers and colleagues. Go ahead and select it, select Open, and it's now available in our Adobe PDF Presets menu. Let's take a look at it with the Edit menu, and specifically we want to look at the output. And what we can see here is that our color conversions is no color conversion, and the profile inclusion includes tag source profiles. We can go ahead and click OK, and Done. Now to create our PDF file, simply select File, Adobe PDF Presets, and select Fiery Optimize 2. Name the PDF file, and click Save. We are given one final chance to change the Adobe PDF preset that we are using. Again, we'll leave it on the Fiery Optimize 2. We could also make any additional adjustments to that preset if we chose to, and we'll select Export. The PDF file is now being generated from our Adobe InDesign document. Creating a PDF file from Adobe Illustrator is slightly different. We go to the File menu and select Save As, change our format from Adobe Illustrator to Adobe PDF, and select Save. Next, we can select the Adobe PDF preset that we wish to use to create our PDF file. By default, it will open up Illustrator Default. When we pull down the menu, we can see that it automatically imported Fiery Optimize 2 when we brought it in through Adobe InDesign. We'll select that, and we'll click Save PDF. And our PDF file now has been created from Adobe Illustrator. Okay, let's continue with the presentation. If you receive a PDF document that has issues, Fiery-driven printers have standard and optional features that help overcome these issues. Fiery Spot On allows you to add custom spot colors to the Fiery Server Spot Color library to address missing spot colors. The optional package, Fiery Graphic Arts Package Premium Edition, includes Fiery Preflight to identify the color spaces of all the objects within a document. It also includes the image viewer that allows you to make color adjustments to individual pages or all the pages in a document. Fiery Image Enhanced Visual Editor is included with Fiery servers running System 9 and higher, and using Fiery Command Workstation version 5.4.
Fiery Image Enhanced Visual Editor allows you to apply automatic or custom color adjustments on up to 50 images in a document. To make automatic or save preset corrections to a selected image, select the Presets menu and pull down and choose the correction method that you wish. You can make refinements to the corrections using the settings on the right. Additionally, red eye adjustments can be applied. They are off by default and can be turned on to correct in the photo. This will capture most of the red eye. However, the threshold can be adjusted to ensure that we're not overcompensating for red eye, and then manual adjustments can be applied. Here we see we have then captured a few of the additional red eyes that were missed by the original automatic correction. These corrections can be applied to the selected image or all the images within a document. Each image can have its own unique color adjustments applied to achieve the best printed results. In today's webinar, we looked at how to identify issues before printing using Fiery Preflight. We learned how to prevent common issues during the design process, including low-resolution images, missing fonts, and linked objects, and assigning transparency color spaces. We also added a spot library to a document, and we preflighted the document to ensure that it would produce the best printed output from InDesign. We then created a PDF file using the Fiery Optimize 2 PDF preset, which you will receive instructions on how to download so that you can use it and share it with your customers and colleagues. We also reviewed the standard and optional tools available for Fiery servers to overcome difficult files, including the Fiery Graphics Arts Package Premium Edition and Image Enhanced Visual Editor. Additional resources that will be available to you after this training include the white paper Configuring Fiery Color Settings to Optimize Print Quality and the PDF preset Fiery Optimize 2 Job Options. You can also download the Adobe Creative Suite printing guide from the Adobe website for additional tips on creating the best print-ready documents. EFI has also developed a number of e-learning training courses to support using your Fiery-driven printer. You can access these courses by going to www.efi.com/elearning. You can also become an EFI certified professional by completing the Fiery Professional Certification courses. For more information on this program, go to www.efi.com/FieryPro. After you become a Fiery certified professional, you can expand your expertise by completing the Fiery Expert Certification program. For information on this program, go to www.efi.com/FieryExpert. To get the latest version of Fiery Command Workstation, visit www.efi.com/CWS5. You can also get a free e-learning course titled Introduction to Fiery Command Workstation. Connect 2014 will be the industry's best venue for open dialogue and idea exchange in 2014. Business leaders worldwide will gather to participate in educational sessions, receive hands-on experience, and discuss industry trends, network with peers, voice their opinions, and learn from others. EFI will showcase its full product portfolio, giving you more ways to build upon your existing investment. Highlights will include educational breakout sessions, industry leader keynotes, panel discussion general sessions, EFI State of the Union general session, user group meetings, lunch topic discussions with product experts, networking receptions, EFI partner booths, demonstrations, and breakout sessions, and a solution center staffed by EFI's top product and business experts. Register at www.efi.com/connect and enter promotional code FRY-CUST.
Thanks, Chris, for this information. Let's answer a few questions that have come in. The first question: can Fiery Preflight check if elements are in RGB when CMYK is needed?
That's a great question. Preflight will not indicate if an element or object is a CMYK or RGB object. The Fiery Graphic Arts Package Premium Edition also includes the Post-Flight feature, which will create a color-coded page for each page in the document to help identify which color space each object uses. Red objects will use the RGB color space, cyan or blue objects will use the CMYK color space, yellow objects use spot color spaces, and gray objects use black only. This is a great tool to determine which color space each object in a document uses.
Where is the image enhancement function selected?
Image Enhanced Visual Editor can be applied to a job in the held queue by right-clicking the mouse and selecting Image Enhanced Visual Editor. It can also be found under the Actions menu.
What product do you recommend for calibrating monitors?
To calibrate monitors, we recommend using Fiery Color Profiler Suite 4 and the included ES2000.
I have the Fiery Graphic Arts package. Does this give me Fiery Preflight?
Fiery Preflight requires the Fiery Graphic Arts Package Premium Edition. This is in addition to the Fiery Graphic Arts package.
And the last question: what is the maximum number of pages that you can have on the document when using Image Enhanced Visual Editor?
Fiery Image Enhanced Visual Editor allows you to work with a document as large as 100 pages with a maximum of 50 images per document. Thank you for participating in today's World of Fiery webinar, Best Practices for Preparing Files for Digital Print.